We are diving into how Canadian small businesses can drive growth with digital transformation, cybersecurity, and IoT.
One of the challenges for small businesses is resource, both in terms of money, people, and expertise. And what we do at the Digital Tech Hub is we help in that way.
Dear listeners, safeguarding your business in today's digital age isn't just about keeping up, it's about staying ahead. Explore how technology can fortify your business, reduce cost, and empower growth.
We will partner with small businesses and offer them a free cybersecurity assessment to start, and those businesses will then sit down with our experts and have a review of their practices.
Remember that continuous learning and upskilling are vital for success in a rapidly changing digital landscape. Welcome to today's episode of the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. We are diving into how Canadian small businesses can drive growth with digital transformation, cybersecurity, and IoT. With insights from top experts, we will explore practical tools to elevate SMEs in today's digital landscape. Today we have two guests, Syms and Dave Smiderle. Francis is an expert in cybersecurity, AI, and risk management and is Associate Dean at Humber College. He is the author of Cybersecurity in Canada, CEO of the Joule Group, and a member of the Canadian Association of Defense and Security Industries Cyber Council. And Dave, an expert in adult education and change management, is the Associate Dean at Humber College. With over 14 years of experience, he leads initiatives in reskilling and upskilling Canadian industries. Let's dive in. Dave and Francis, let's start by discussing the role of digital tech hub in small business growth. Small businesses often face challenges in adopting digital technology tools, but the digital tech hub has been transformative for many businesses across Canada. Francis, this question is for you. How does the digital tech hub small businesses enhance security, manages risk, and boost sales while lowering the cost?
One of the challenges for small businesses is resource, both in terms of money, people, and expertise. And what we do at the Digital Tech Hub is we help in that way. So we will partner with small businesses and offer them a free cybersecurity assessment to start. And those businesses will then sit down with our experts and have a review of their practices, where they're doing well with cybersecurity and where they need some support with cybersecurity. And then once that's done, then we can partner with those small businesses in a number of different ways. One is we provide a membership service where we're always bringing our expertise, insights, and the collective understanding of what the right thing to do is to those businesses, and we also support them in other services. Maybe a particular small business is doing amazing, and they only need some training. Maybe another business actually, is doing some manufacturing and has some equipment connected to the internet, and that equipment needs to be protected and secured. And so what we do with the Digital Tech Hub is we provide that support to small and medium businesses in a no-cost or a low-cost way, because the small businesses are the backbone of Canada. And one of the facts that's out there is that if a small business is attacked, say by a ransomware attack, and a ransomware attack is where somebody comes into your system and locks you out from accessing it, they say that up to half of those small businesses go out of business within 6 months after the ransomware attack, because two things happen. Either they pay the ransom, which is a significant sum and sometimes an impossible sum, or they don't pay the ransom, and then their clients, their staff, everything falls apart, and they're not able to continue their business and continue to grow. So it's a significant challenge for small businesses, and we're here to help in that capacity.
As you rightly said, small businesses are the backbone of the Canadian economy, and 98% of all businesses in Canada are small businesses. How can the Digital Tech Hub expand its support to meet the diverse industry needs?
Yeah, so I think, no matter what you're doing, if you're a small business owner, you're typically using computers, you're typically using your cell phone, you may have a website, you may be doing financial transactions over the internet. All those things have risks associated with them in terms of people that you don't want getting access to the data or getting into your network and doing things that can make you stop running your business. So it doesn't matter if you're running a hair salon, maybe a small shawarma shop, or you're a manufacturer. All those people are trying to connect with their clients through the internet using digital technology, and that digital technology needs to be protected.
Right. Great insights, Francis. It's impressive how the hub makes essential cybersecurity tools accessible to all small businesses. Dear listeners, safeguarding your business in today's digital age isn't just about keeping up. It's about staying ahead. Explore how technology can fortify your business, reduce cost, and empower growth. Let's explore further how SMEs can assess and tackle cybersecurity effectively. Cybersecurity assessments can seem daunting for many small businesses, but they are very essential for every business success, especially for smaller teams with limited resources. Dave, could you tell us more about the free cybersecurity assessment the Digital Tech Hub offers and its specific benefits for these small businesses?
Thanks, SK. So one of the things that we do, we want to make the process as simple as possible, right? Because we know most small, medium enterprises are running 24/7, 7 days a week, and they're focusing on their core business. So what's really, really important is to make sure that they can access this assessment in a way that works for them. So the very first thing that we do is we actually give them a self-screening questionnaire where they can complete at any time. It's available on our website that we can speak to a little bit later. And that allows us to kind of identify what are the areas that we need to focus on more deeply. The next step is actually we schedule whether it's a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting where we dive a little bit deeper in terms of the answers to the questions that we gave them to better understand what their particular needs are. We tend to look at cybersecurity in a number of different ways. And so I got my notes here, guys, just because there's so many and I don't want to miss any of them. But the ones that we look at are policies with respect to cybersecurity. As you know, probably most businesses, when they start off, they don't think about creating a cybersecurity policy, right? Their network security.
Especially the small businesses.
Especially small businesses.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Their data. How do they protect their data? How do they keep their data secure, especially in this market, right? Email. Everyone uses email, SK. So to some extent, how do they make sure they keep their email kind of safe? Endpoint security. So that really refers to anything that connects to the cloud or networks. So it's not only your computer, but it could be your laptop, it could be your cell phone. As you know, a lot of small, medium businesses and enterprises actually do a lot of work from our cell phone. And our cell phones have become so much more sophisticated that you can do many, many things. And it's quite effective to do it that
It's like
way.
a mobile office,
Absolutely, absolutely. It has a lot of applications to it, right? So how do we look after the cybersecurity from an endpoint standpoint? And then the last one is what we call remote access. So for example, if you are a small, medium business or enterprise, chances are you might be working at home, right? To kind of do some of the things. So how do you factor into things like virtual protection network or a multi-factor authentication? So all of these things are things that we look at with the small, medium enterprise, and we ask detailed questions to better understand where the potential vulnerabilities are, where they are on the evolutionary scale to move forward with respect to that. Once that's done, we then generate a report for them. And that report details with them one-on-one, what are the things they can do right now, low-hanging fruit as it were, to make sure that they can improve their cybersecurity presence. What does that look like? How can we help them move forward? Could there be some training involved? Easy little things that they can do up to the more complex.
Right.
And we find that when we do that, people have first respond to us and realize, they say, oh, wait, this is not as complicated as we thought it might be. Because if I say to you cybersecurity in your small, medium enterprise, you go, what is that? I'm not sure. And it can start from that and we move up from there. So we've found that companies have greatly appreciated the approach that we've taken because, again, we want to make it into bite-sized chunks that make sense for them.
Right. I totally agree with you, Dave. Like a free assessment provides an entry point, like helping small businesses across Canada totally understand the risk without financial strain. What are some common issues you have found that SMEs and how does this assessment help address them early on?
I think the number one thing that we see is more often than not, and I think we talked about it just earlier a few minutes ago, this idea of a policy, right? When most people start a business, they don't think about, well, what's our policy about cybersecurity? They're more thinking about how do I get my product and the service out there, and how do I make sure that I'm getting my return on investment, I'm making money, I'm keeping my head above water, et cetera, et cetera. And strangely enough, policy is probably the most overlooked thing, but probably the most important thing. Because if you start with that policy, think of it from a business plan standpoint. It's your strategy, right? That policy actually tells you what are the things that you need to think about in those other areas. So that's probably the most common thing that we think, or that we see rather, in terms of small, medium enterprises, that they need to start and continue to focus on their policy. From there, all the different things kind of come out of that.
Right. Thank you for breaking that down into simple, understandable for our small businesses. Cybersecurity is really a critical component of digital adoption, and it's good to know there's accessible support for SMEs available through the Digital Tech Hub. Now, moving forward, let's shift gears into the opportunities within the cyber economy for job creation. As Digital Tech Hub expands, it's exciting to see the growth potential in job creation within the cyber economy across Canada. Francis, how is the Digital Tech Hub fostering job creation in the cyber economy, and what does this mean for SMEs who are looking to hire new people?
Mhm. Our job is to support organizations as they grow, right? And we do it in two ways. I started as a technologist. My colleague here started as a psychologist, but now we're both practicing cybersecurity. And really, cybersecurity is about merging the policy with the technology and coming up with a solution that protects your business. By starting with that type of protection, then what you can do is you can be more confident in taking risks to grow your business, right? You can feel more assured that when you want to have a bigger online presence, that you have a partner and a friend that's there to help support you to take that growth. Because as a small business owner, if there's a vendor approaching you and saying, we can integrate cryptocurrency into the way you get paid, well, that sounds exciting. Maybe that sounds like a huge opportunity, but it also sounds probably a little scary,
Correct.
right? And so what we need, or what we really feel like we need in Canada, is this concept of cyber herd immunity, where we're here, like many others in Ontario and in Toronto and in Canada, are here to protect each other. And by building that cyber herd immunity, then it allows you to take more risks in your business with respect to technology, because you know that there's somebody there to bounce that idea off of. And we know that, as we grow, no longer is just the bricks and mortar shop the only way you can conduct business. You need to be selling your product online. You need to be shipping online. You need to be working with partners that help you to do that drop shipping, or help you to, process those invoices. And figuring out what's good, what's fraudulent, what's risky is a little bit stressful. And so an organization like the Digital Tech Hub can help the
Right.
business practice.
Following on that, Francis, could you highlight any training or resources the hub offers for SMEs to tap into the job pool effectively?
So what we do at the Digital Tech Hub as part of our post the initial assessment is we have a membership program. And so when SMEs sign up for that membership program at a low cost of $100 a year, what they do is they have access to resources and reference guides that help them to, if for example, they're going to do something simple as employee training, we have a best practice guide on how to do that. Or if they're curious about maybe integrating in something, for example, like cryptocurrency into their practice, we have a best practice guide that might help with that. And in addition, we have monthly webinars, meetings that are available to those small business clients that will help them to bounce questions and ideas off of with industry experts. And so the goal there is that they're not alone. And then by doing that, then they can get tips from experts and then use those tips to help make decisions that will allow their business to grow.
Can you share the website address, where we can access all these tools and resources?
Absolutely, yes.
What's the website address?
So folks, if you're interested in learning more about the services that we provide, go on to any browser and type Digital Technology Hub at Humber, and it will take you directly to the website there, and it will list all of our services that are available. That's probably the simplest way to do it, then give you a URL, and you'll have an opportunity actually to see a code that will allow you to quickly get into the scanning process in terms of doing an initial free assessment.
Thank you for sharing those information. We will also add the link in the podcast description to make it easier for them to access. To our listeners out there, remember that continuous learning and upskilling are vital for success in a rapidly changing digital landscape. Don't hesitate to explore training that aligns with your business goals. Now let's delve into the practical aspects of upskilling for the digital world. In today's tech economy, skills development is very, very important. Upskilling and reskilling are crucial for teams looking to stay relevant. Dave, could you share some insights into the training programs the Hub offers for upskilling SME employees?
Yes, for sure. So one of the things that we are doing is for those individuals that are part of the subscription service, we're offering them workshops to be able to upskill and to reskill in this area. And again, I have to kind of remember, and we always do, is that, this isn't their core business, right? Their core business is whatever they decided to get into from an entrepreneur standpoint. So what we want to do is provide them with the skill sets so that they can continue to focus on their core business and just enough to kind of make sure that they keep themselves safe, right? So we talk about cybersecurity for small, medium business, and we provide them with a workshop in terms of what are the tools, the technology, the process that they need to make sure that they can stay safe. So that's one of the things that we do. The other thing that we are going to do is going to hold our first conference with respect to the Digital Tech Hub, and we're hoping to get our friends here at Canadian SME to be part of that as well.
For sure.
Where we can talk about what have we all learned with respect to cybersecurity? What are the best practices that we can share? And because I think further to Francis's point about the cyber herd immunity, the more that we can talk to each other about what's happening out there in the area, the more that we can protect each other. The last thing that we're doing with respect to this is that we're offering mentoring and coaching as well. So for an additional fee, and again, all of that is available on our website, you can have someone come in and provide coaching and mentoring to your staff at different levels, right? Because what the cybersecurity needs are for the management tier of an organization, even as a small, medium business, might be different than the operating staff, might be different than the support staff, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a variety of different services we provide based on where that organization is in their life cycle. But what we really want to do is create this community where we can learn from each other.
Right. It's really refreshing to see how dedicated programs just you mentioned are reshaping opportunities for these small businesses across Canada. Stay tuned. After the break, we will uncover how SMEs can upskill and reskill their teams to thrive in a tech-driven world.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. Still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep, healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah, well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep, that's all us. That's all UPS.
Four billion people check their email every day. That's 4 billion missed opportunities if your message doesn't make it. To reach your customer's inbox, you need a winning strategy. And Constant Contact delivers. Literally, over 97% deliverability. Elevate your email game with easy-to-use templates, writing assistants powered by AI, and in-depth metrics. Ensuring your email is flawless, delivered, and read. Constant Contact delivers. Give it a try.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you.
We're here to help you plug in,
connect and recharge,
make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Let's continue our discussion on the empowering Canadian SMEs with the tools and training they need for digital success. Now let's dive into risk management strategies for small businesses. Risk management is a priority for every small business, especially in tech-savvy environments where risks are constantly evolving. Francis, this question is for you. What risk management strategies would you suggest for small businesses in today's tech landscape?
I spent many years as a risk management professor and cybersecurity professor. So I know a little bit about risk management, and I previously worked as a project manager. So risk really starts with identifying what the big impacts that could happen to you are, and what the likelihood of that impact is. And then once you determine the likelihood and how big the impact is going to be, then you can determine if you actually need to do something about it, right? For example, 98% of all attacks that happen start with social engineering. They don't start with somebody hacking in through a backdoor into your computer. They typically start with somebody clicking on a link that they maybe shouldn't have clicked on, and that link might be an invoice.
98%.
98%. Right. And so we think about cybersecurity as being a high-tech thing, and it is, but it starts with a very low-tech entry point, right? And sure, there's all kinds of things you need to do, like patch your systems. We all get upgrades every 2 weeks on our phone. It's extremely important to do that and stay on top of it. But sometimes the things that can have the highest likelihood are the things that we ignore, such as social engineering, or when somebody was to leave your business, ensuring that the access for them on the company's computers is taken away, or that where you have the data stored, that only the right people have access to that data, because if it's compromised, you don't want to find yourself into a situation where, you have to deal with some sort of legal action. So sometimes just starting and doing a list of the things that are most likely to happen, these lowest hanging fruit things, and then coming up with a risk management plan to mitigate those is very simple. It doesn't need a lot of tech expertise, and can go a long way to supporting and helping the business.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing those insights with us today, Francis. With so many potential risks, having a clear strategy, as you mentioned, is indeed empowering for small businesses. What practical first steps can SMEs take to implement these strategies effectively?
Yeah, I think it starts with identifying what are the key assets in your business, right? Those key assets are maybe your employees, maybe your technology, maybe your physical building. And then looking at those assets and then thinking about what can happen to compromise those assets. And they may be technical issues. It may be somebody hacking in. It may be a second key that you left in the mailbox for the business so that somebody else could come in. So risk management often starts with just thinking through what are the things that you need to protect. And a large part of that might be your employees or your brand and reputation. And then once you identify those, figuring out what are the ways that those can be threatened, it helps you to start coming up with that sort of plan. And that's the type of process that we can help with through the Digital Tech Hub. In addition to one other thing that we haven't mentioned is how you might want to consider using new technologies, not just what the risks are to what you're currently doing, but maybe you're thinking about how do I use AI? And how do I really integrate that in my business to really save that 30 minutes a day that Microsoft and LinkedIn have promised? As a small business owner, you may be worried about that. You may be thinking, should I just put all my data in ChatGPT and let ChatGPT figure it out? Well, you put your data there, that data goes to somebody else's cloud, and then you've lost ownership of it. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about cybersecurity, but it's how you work with that digital realm in general, that these small businesses, I think, may need support in. Not everybody, but some of them do. And that a place like the Digital Tech Hub can help there.
Right. It's always good to have, practical steps to work on. To wrap up, before we wrap up, could each of you share a piece of advice for SMEs who are just beginning their journey into digital transformation and the cybersecurity? Start with Dave.
Sure. I think if I had to give any advice, I would say that there are institutions like Humber Polytechnic that are here to help you. So don't be afraid to kind of reach out to institutions, whether it's Humber Polytechnic or other academic institutions that have a focus in the digital technology. That's important. And the reason that I would say that is the agenda for those institutions are very clear. It's to help business, right? There's nothing else. It's just to help business. So reach out to those places. They're offering services. They want to help make things better, because if we can make the economy better, then it supports what we're doing as well.
Yeah. And I would give maybe some technical, practical advice in addition to what my colleague said, which is make sure that you and your staff are trained on some of the basics around cybersecurity. What makes a good email? What makes a bad email? What are the typical ways that you might be attacked? Because although you think you know, there are people out there that are trying to find the small vulnerabilities that you have and exploit them. That's the number one thing I always tell people is focus on training. And then the second thing is really, wherever you can, try to enable multi-factor authentication. We can help with that at Humber. But although that's a very technical step, it's the type of thing that if somebody tries to change your password, they have to get an SMS code sent to their phone, and it makes it incredibly difficult for corporate accounts, your business, your computers to be compromised if those two things are enabled. And then 3 is don't be afraid to come and ask for help from organizations like Humber. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to sell cybersecurity services, and they seem amazing, but they also can seem very expensive. Come and talk to a place like Humber, because we're here to help. We're in it for the public good, and it doesn't have to be scary and overwhelming.
Thank you, Francis and Dave, for sharing your advice and insights today. It's been a pleasure having you both on our podcast.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
In today's episode, we explored the dynamic landscape of digital transformation, cybersecurity, and job creation in cyber economy with experts Francis Syms and Dave Smiderle. Their insights on practical tech solutions for SMEs were invaluable, touching on risk management, digital upskilling, and the importance of cybersecurity assessments. A big thank you to our partners RBC, UPS, Constant Contact, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and Google for their support in making this podcast possible. We are grateful for their commitment to empowering Canadian small businesses. To all our listeners out there, be sure to visit CanadianSME.ca and subscribe to Canadian SME Small Business Magazine for more inspiring stories and practical advice for your business journey. See you in the next episode.